Welcome everybody to Big J's World. My name is Big J. Here I have Miss Cori, the Gaggle illustrator. If you want to tell the people who's watching a little bit about yourself, and if you do have any books out, what type of books you write.
Hi, Big J. I'm Cori. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I am actually a children's book author and illustrator. I do a couple of other illustrations as well for fun. The current book that I have out right now is Addie's Fleet of Dragons. I have a copy right here.
Sure.
It's a little children's book. And then we're working on publishing a few more books this year. My goal is to get 3 out, indie published. I am agented by the fabulous Vicki Weber, and we are here doing our best.
Awesome. So have you always written children's books, or have you thought of writing an adult book later on, or what's the plan?
Right. So I have a wonderful community backing me. There's tons of authors out there. The community is just arms wide open. And so a lot of them have encouraged me to go bigger into novel. So I have dabbled in that a little bit. I've plotted one out. I've actually got I'm close to 6,000 words on it, which isn't a lot because I've got to get it to like 100,000. But I did just start something that I'm a plotter. So I've been plotting it out for quite a while. So getting to the 6,000 is a big step for me because that means I'm now officially out of the plotting phase and into the writing phase. I do love writing early reader chapter books. And early reader, I mean, because I love to illustrate, right? Early reader as in reading level below Magic Tree House. There's one out right now. It's Princess in Black. I really love her stylistically. So if I had to say what my favorite kind of book to write would be that. It's just little chapter books. It's about 2,500 words, which is a challenge. I found that the art of storytelling within a limited word count is a different ball game than writing an adult novel.
Now, you said early reader chapter books. Are those the type of books that are like for like a certain grade, or they're for little kids who are just starting to read?
Right. So we've had a hard time, when I say we, me and my agent, selling the book that I have made for this genre because there's really not a genre for it. I don't know if you know the backstory. I'll give you a little bit of what my agent had told me at a writer's conference, is that the publishing world is suffering because of Harry Potter. Now, let me wind that back. The reason why that is, or at least it was explained to me, is that when, I don't know what year you're born, but I'm a 90s kid. And in the 90s, when Harry Potter came out, it was a big boom on the reading world. And all the 90s kids picked up Harry Potter. They read through it. That book and that series completely changed the middle grade genre. All the publishers were trying to chase the high of Harry Potter. It was a small imprint at the time. I believe it was Bloomsbury. Don't quote me on that. Sorry. But it was a smaller imprint at the time. And the success brought them up into top 5 really quickly. So of course they wanted to mimic that. And what it did was it took from, if you remember what middle grade before that was, it was like Magic Tree House and Judy Blume. Can't think of any of the other ones, but I'm sure that you would pick up on them. Charlotte Webb was probably the thickest, I would claim, in that genre. And so when they were chasing this high, we went from really literate children to the crash kind of came from the Harry Potter. Not saying that there's not still love for Harry Potter out there, but it's obviously not the same high that it was beforehand. And so now we're kind of lost in redefining what middle grade is now. And you'll notice that we have a market that's flooded with graphic novels right now in the publishing world. And the reason why that is because children in school, all ages, are significantly behind in reading in this country. And there is still a need, a want, and a love for reading. And these publishers are desperate to get this generation into the reading world, right? And so they are publishing graphic novels because these kids are leaning on the pictures in order to elevate their reading level to an enjoyment level for them, right? So for me, middle grade is difficult to navigate because it's all over the place in general because of that, but there really isn't like an early reader. So you go from picture books to middle grade. And we say early reader, and of course the people like you, me, we get it, right? But there's really not an early reader genre is what has been defined to me. And so I'm trying to like nudge myself in there. I would claim that I am. I have samples here. This is not, I've edited it since then, of course. But like, so it would be, big text on the screen, lots of pictures throughout was kind of what I was going for. So on either the same page that you're doing or somewhere on the left, right, there is an illustration. So I don't like graphic novels doing them. Nothing against reading them, but I don't like illustrating them just because that's kind of not my art style. So it would be kind of between picture book and graphic novel illustration wise, the level of it. But that's kind of the market I'm trying to hit is those children that are, for particularly my daughter was a huge motivation for me. She is dyslexic, or at least I think she is. I'm not positive on that. And she's really behind on her reading and always has been. I used to struggle with that a lot more until my child below her basically taught herself how to read. So I know it is her. And so I was looking for books that would fuel her reading because I don't want her to lose that love and, the literate world. And so I made a book and I have it now. It's actually on submission and I'm really hoping that it sells. I did get a rejection letter from Scholastic and that was like the ultimate. Okay, I want to get there at some point. So if that ever happens, it'd be great. But that is my goal is to get a book like that traditionally published in the world.
Okay. Have you thought about, well, have you submitted to any other like large
Yes.
book publishing? Like, there was one book that I can't remember the name of it, but it had a gold band. Do you?
Mm-hmm. No, is it children's book still younger?
Yeah, it's probably a younger book.
There's Usborn, which is like I don't know, that's kind of like a pyramid selling thing that has a gold band in it. There's Penguin House. There's HarperCollins. My agent was amazing. I was shocked at the list that she put together when she did our first round of submissions. It was all really big names, and so we hit a lot of the good ones. We out of the 10, we were still waiting on 3 responses, and then we had a discussion about trying a different angle recently. So submission is so a lot of authors, especially if they're committed to indie publishing, they don't know a lot of this stuff, but there is querying to get out of the indie trenches to then get an agent. And then basically once you get an agent, which is the first gatehouse for publishing, right? Then you and your agent have to basically query these publishing houses. So
Right.
it's an interesting phase to go through.
Now, let's talk about where you started. How did you get into writing? Was it the plan to write only children's books and illustration? Because I've seen those pictures that you just showed me. Was that all you that illustrated those pictures?
Yes.
That is amazing.
Thanks. Well, the book that I have that's indie published, this one actually, I'll start with this and I'll tell you a little bit more about the story. This one is a dual illustration, and I gotta hide my face so that I can show you. But this book was done by me and my daughter, so it's a mix of, I would say, like my professional illustrations, and then let me see if I can get a page. Not that I'm not willing to show you everything, but like that's
Yeah.
my daughter's illustrations on there, right?
Oh
So
my
she's got a
goodness.
mix of, my illustrations along with hers, which
Right.
was a fun twist, right? And the whole
Mhm.
point of this book was to hopefully fuel other children to think, it doesn't matter what grade or level of illustrations you are, that you can, these are hers, that you
Yeah.
can too illustrate and come in. I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start, you can get there. And that's truly a motto of mine. I tell people all the time that want to hire an illustrator, you may not be there yet. They're like, oh, I could never do that. I'm like, no, you may not be there yet, but you could do this. When I was in high school, this was not at all. I never would have pictured me being a writer, illustrator, any of that stuff. When I was in high school, I was always an artistic child. I would say it's genetic, a lot of artistic beings on both sides of my family. And so for me, it wasn't a huge surprise that I would be doing creative stuff. But the most creative in writing that I was ever in high school was writing verse. so it's not far off from poetry and stuff like that. But I never thought I would apply it towards a book. If I'm being honest, when I was a little 16-year-old kid, I had a little journal that I had all this poetry in, and it was verse for song. So if I ever, as a child, had imagined myself doing any kind of writing, it would be doing lyrics for country singers and writers. And I can promise you that my high school teachers would never have seen me. I was not a good writer. I didn't do well in English at all. And it wasn't until I met my husband who really sat down to teach me how to write. And that's what's helped me gain the confidence. But what has gotten me into writing and illustrating were my children. My daughter's need for better books, more books of the same versions that were out there. And I just didn't necessarily like the things that were being published, and I just wanted to bring back some different aspects that I felt were either being neglected in children's books or being completely like erased altogether. For example, my daughter is a tomboy, and I feel like there was a movement, but it left behind the tomboys. And my daughter loves dragons and and now it's gotten better. There's, like the dragon girls and things like that. But there were a lot of things that my daughter was interested in that were considered boyish, right? And she didn't see girls on the cover or doing those things, right? So that was another reason why I wanted to do it. Is I wanted to picture the tomboy doing tomboy things, living their best tomboy life.
All right. That's amazing.
Something.
One sec, I just dropped something. Hold on. Sorry.
You're good.
Messing up. Why am I messing up? Trust me, it's never like this. You can ask Chelsea.
Great. Doing great.
All right.
I'm going to sit up if you're good. Yep.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Clearer?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Because apparently I thought I had my microphone plugged in and it was my other one.
Gotcha.
All right. Sorry. All right. Go. Now, I love how you incorporated your daughter's drawing into that book. I bet she's like so proud that she gets to have.
Yes. She's not just that. So it motivated her to write her own book. So now we have published her own little book out of it. It's kind of in-house. I haven't really made it publicly available. So she went and illustrated her own little book and did a bunch of drawings. And so really my goal was to just get children motivated, and it did exactly that. My own daughter went out and made her own book. We got it published. It's really cute. It's been loved by a lot of people. So yes, it's fueled her to start this herself, which is great.
Just following Mama's stepfoot, huh?
Yes, Mom is a monkey see, monkey do.
But hey, maybe it'll get her to write more chapter books and just beginning and just go from there.
Correct. Yes, it's worked out really well in that manner.
Now, what was your first book that you've written that hasn't been published for like children? That's like something that's a little pet project, but hasn't been out to the world yet.
It's not for children. My adult book.
Your adult book, or
so I've attempted 3 novels. This is May 3rd. I am a plotter through and through, and so the first 2 books, I tried to pants them just to get into it, to learn. A lot of it was teaching experiences. And then the first one I wrote got to 72,000 words and I just abandoned it. The second one I got to 52,000 words and I was like, that's not it either. And mostly because the book that I'm working on now, which I'm really motivated to do, it is something that I am passionate about. So I want to do it. Whereas the other ones were just kind of projects, just trying to get through the writing process and learn what was best for me. And so the first one I tried was kind of a Dante's Inferno rewrite, retelling in a hidden market where this couple has to go to a hidden market at the bottom of Dante's Inferno. So they have to go through all the layers of hell, and it was fun. It's a great concept. I think one day I might go back to it, but right now it's shelved. The second one was a cozy fantasy. It was great. if I'm being honest, I got really bored with it. Cozy Fantasy is really, it's kind of like my palate cleanser between adult books, right? And I just got really bored writing it. So this next one is going to be kind of the one that I'm working on right now is based in Norse mythology, Vikings and stuff like that, their mythology with a fun twist. That's kind of the basis, but I'm hoping by the end of the book, you won't, unless you know and you're familiar with that stuff, you won't know and you'll see the similarities, but it's not going to be a Norse world, if that makes sense. And it's about kind of like, think of, did you ever read Charlie Bone growing up? It's
No.
a kid's book. Okay, Charlie Bone is like the Harry Potter, but a school for gifted children with different powers. So a mix of that from my childhood, because I really love that series, and with adult theme, and Throne of Glass combined inside of a Norse world. And I'm really excited about it.
That sounds really fun. I
It
mean,
should be fun.
I like mythology in general, Greek, Norse, all that stuff.
It's great
I mean,
world building, right?
yeah.
It's
I
interesting to
have,
me that stuff was so like that was their religion. That like they were full in on that. That was a religion. It wasn't just myth to them. And now we get to experience it as a myth world, mythical world. So it's good. It's interesting.
now, the book that you just showed me, that's not your first children's book that you published,
This
right?
is actually the first one that I wrote. So I
Oh, okay.
did
All right.
go into writing wanting to traditionally publish. So my goal was to traditionally publish. It's a little bit different for children's book illustrators. So if I explain something you've heard, just let me know. But for people out there that don't know, children's books authors typically, when you go to present yourself to an agent for querying and stuff like that, they expect 3 to 5 finished projects. And what I mean by finished is I can show you an example. I walked in to a meeting with my now agent with sketches. So they want the story written and they want sketches. It's called a storyboard for picture books, especially if you're an illustrator. If you are not an illustrator, you don't have to have a storyboard. You would do words. You would storyboard with words. Like I visualize this for these words, right? Now, if you're an author illustrator like I am, you have to go through that process. So I was looking for all of this information on the internet. It's really funny to me that my now agent, who is a dream agent, Vicky Weber again, she was one of the very few people that had information on YouTube. She was out there. She runs a company that I think it's At Home Authors that helps indie authors independently publish their books. So she started off as an indie publisher herself. She got picked up via Disney to do a Disney book, and she did well with that. It was an Encanto book. So she wrote that. It was a little short story like the early reader one. And she's done really well for herself. And so she, instead of gatekeeping, which is what I found a lot in the children's book world, and I don't know if they were intentionally doing it or if just the people that know this knowledge are not sharing because they don't, do technology or not. But she was one of the few people sharing what to do and how to get the same success that she saw. And I appreciated that. Now she's my agent. How lucky am I? But I had pitched to her. I had all of this stuff. I went to a writers conference. I actually have never queried, thankfully. The only time I ever spoke with agents is I went to DFW writers conference in October of last year. And I met with 4 different agents. I sat down with them. I brought in my portfolio. So yes, this was the first book I ever actually wrote and illustrated. That was part of that portfolio. Initially, because the gatekeeping and the lack of information, I thought you had to fully illustrate. So this book I fully illustrated, and I actually fully illustrated a second book. So I had 2 fully illustrated. Then I learned about storyboarding. I started storyboarding this one. And then I wrote a chapter book, which was the one that I showed you earlier. And I fully illustrated 3 of the 10 chapters. And then after that, that gave them a good enough sample, right? At that point, I took my portfolio in and that's what I presented. So I had this book written, Addie's Fleet of Dragon, back in 2022. I wrote it and illustrated it. I sat on it it must have been 2023. So I sat on it for 2 years, went to a conference in 2025. And then the only reason why it's indie published and will probably be the theme for all of my indie published for now that I am agented and I do want to traditionally publish, is that publishing houses do not want books. I mean, they will, and it's happened. They don't like to take on books with minors attached to them. So since my daughter did help me illustrate this book, they don't like to do that because they don't have rights in the publishing world until they're 18. And if a little 8-year-old girl, which she is at the time that this was published, decides when she's 18 that she didn't want to give away those rights to those things, it can become a legal nightmare. And so a lot of them just choose not to intervene with that. So the reason why you see some of my books that will be released will have the theme of a mommy and me. They were books that I wrote as love gifts for my children. They've got fun themes. They're not, tied to my children other than usually the use of their interests and themselves as the child inside the thing. But I have written other books outside of that. I probably have 20 books written. I probably have 10 books illustrated to the point where my agent could go and take them on submission if she wanted, storyboarding like I showed you with the sketches or some finished product. And so we're just sitting on them. The publishing world is what I've been told for children's market is a little all over the place, kind of like I was telling you earlier with them redefining things and settling in, and they weren't doing well with children's books for a while. So everybody's like shuffling around and imprints were closing, imprints are opening. It's kind of a nightmare for children's books right now. So if you see me traditionally publish, it's because I'm trying to get me and my children's work out there, which they probably weren't going to pick up anyways.
Right. Wow. Between children's books and the adult books that we read, it is such a different world.
It totally is. Yes. I remember. So my agent has this group. I'm not going to say where it is to keep people protected, but we have a separate group that she then brings us all in, and we're kind of like a support group. It's Vicky's support group kind of thing. And one of the authors in there, she's a wonderful lady. I don't have her permission for her name, so I'll just leave it at that. But she was asking for beta readers, and I was willing to do it. And she asked me, she goes, what do you write? Like, what genre? Because I was just willing to beta read and she didn't know anything about me. And I was like, oh, I primarily write children's books. And she's like, oh, yeah, that my book is not children's book at all. And she was like standoffish, like she wasn't going to give me the book. I was like, no, I'm an adult. Just because I keep my children's books clean doesn't mean that I am not reading my own books for entertainment. I am just a firm believer that children's books should be clean content for children. I believe there's a clean separation, but I am an adult. I am not going to not drink because I have children around. I am an adult and my children see that. I'm not going to not read adult themed books, just because I'm a children's book author. And I do believe that there is a fine line there. I have made a promise and I will continue to make a promise to all of my parents that will ever pick up a children's books of mine that they will have clean morals, fun entertainment. I don't ever want a parent to be worried about the content in my children's books. I will never do that. But that being said, if I was to ever write an adult book, there will be a clean separation, different pen names, no, association, right? Because they're just different books for a reason. Yes, I do enjoy adult books as an adult.
I'm just, wow. So whoever the person was, really didn't. But
She did give it to me, but we had to go, she was like, it was a dark romance book. It's the book that that's her genre that she writes. And she was very standoffish at that point. And then of course, we got past, I was like, whoa, I'm okay with that. Right. Like, it's fine. That doesn't bother me. She goes, okay, I was just worried, because you're children's author. And I'm like, no, that doesn't, no. I never pick up a book for smut. I'm going to be completely honest. There's never been a time where I'm like, oh, I want to read that, right? But I enjoy books that are good doesn't even have to be fantasy. The only book I really won't read is self-help. I won't read that. I dabble in horror. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know you are. I'm sorry, or at least you said so on another podcast, but I slept with my parents for a week after watching Jurassic Park. Okay. I am not... I was not good.
That wasn't even that.
No, I know. Big J, the worst part about it? It wasn't that I slept with them for a week. It's that my mom had to go to the restroom with me for a week because I was so worried that a dinosaur was going to pop out of the toilet and bite my butt. So that is the level of, I am a scaredy cat for sure. But there are very few things that I'll pick up. I will say my biggest thing about smut lately is I feel like it's been, and I don't know, maybe you noticed this too, and it's been inserted just for the intent of being inserted lately. And it's kind of a
Yes.
turn off on books. So I don't mind it being in a book. It will turn me off of a book if it's not, if it's in a book that it shouldn't be in. Does that make sense? You ever run into
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Yeah. It's happening
I've
more and more
I've
lately.
started dabbling into dark romance, but we'll talk about that a little bit. Um, Now, who was your inspiration on writing children's books? Have you like thought about being someone famous author? One of them that comes to mind that probably the only book that I've ever read from cover to cover when I was a child was the mouse on the motorcycle by Emily Clary. I think that's her name.
Okay.
I could be saying that wrong, but
Beverly. Isn't it Beverly?
Beverly, yeah, Beverly Clary.
Yep. Yes. I mean, I know this is controversial right now. I don't know why, because I do believe that despite the whoever the artist is, and in this fact it's an author, you can still appreciate the art. It's always been like that for time and time again. I don't know anything about the guy that made Michelangelo other than his name, but I can appreciate the art, right? So I really do love the Harry Potter series. Obviously, that was a big inspiration for me growing up as a child. I was not a strong reader, probably much like my daughter is, and I was capable of reading the Harry Potter books, and so that single-handedly kept me and fueled my love for reading. And then it kind of grew from there. There was a break. Um, College life. But I will say, because I am an author illustrator, I have one of her books here, Sandra, and I don't know her last name, Atima Welt. She is probably my biggest inspiration when it comes to illustrating. I just think she's a fabulous illustrator. She's so cute. I'll show you something else. Isn't that cute? I know,
Yeah,
it's just fun. So yeah, I have a J.K. Rowling would be my author, but this is probably my favorite illustrator. She's just cute.
that's
She's
so
fun. It's
cute.
lighthearted.
Yeah.
She's also it's bright while also still being muted, which you're not into illustrating, and that may not make any sense, but to me, that's really fun.
Uh, that I've never seen that. I work at a children's hospital, and we get tons and tons of books, mostly dinosaurs, some for like hospitals and other things. But I've never seen that book.
She's not. She's an indie. Well, she's an independent. In fact, she lives in Europe. I think she just bought property and lives in Italy. She's really great. I love her. She's so fun. She's on social media, on Instagram specifically is where I follow her. But people go and hire her to be their illustrator, and I'm pretty sure that usually means just indie authors. So you wouldn't see it, which is so unfortunate because it's such a cute book, and every one of the books that she makes is so cute. And I haven't seen her personally traditionally published yet, which is a shame.
Yeah, usually she should be traditionally published. Wow.
Cute, just fun.
Now let's get into your favorite reads. I know you love writing children's books and illustrating and everything. Now, when you're not making magic with your children's books,
Oh,
what do you typically read? What is the vibe? Are you more into dark romance? Are you more into fantasy? Do you like what are you reading?
I read a lot. Like I said, the only thing I really don't read is self-help books. I just
Yeah.
I cannot read them. And then horror is minimal. If I'm going to do horror, my husband has to be there. He has to be sleeping with me that night. He's in pilot, so sometimes he's not home. But I will not pick up a book like that when I am home alone. Like no way. But I do like thrillers.
Mhm.
I like my favorite though is Throne of Glass. Love it. Have you read it?
I'm gonna keep my comments to myself.
Oh, I know. You know what? You either love it or you hate it. But to me, I really did love it. I actually am a veteran. And so the people that have not liked it, it's interesting to me because as a veteran, I really loved her. I thought she was great. I did make my husband read it. He did not. I mean, he read the whole thing, so he made it through. And then at the end, he's like, eh.
I mean, I barely made it through Akatar. I DNF'd it twice.
Yeah, I don't like Akatar. So
I that one that I read the whole book
mhm.
and it was okay. I'm not seeing myself reading any other books from her.
So you haven't read Throne of Glass?
No.
Okay, they're
It's just
different. They are different. It's like different theme. Like I would say, it's more masculine. This is okay. To be able to say why I don't like the two. First off, I believe her male characters in Throne of Glass are more male characters. Like they're just more true to a man, right? Whereas in Akatar, and maybe this is a really big turn on for some people out there, but for me, I don't like how effeminate the main male character is. Not Tamlin, who you read in the first one. It's the, later on, spoiler, sorry, friends. But I just, and I mean effeminate as in, I could not pick, like, this is not a ding on a feminine man, but he was not supposed to be an effeminate man. And he like kept like, he would say something and she tried to make him too much of the perfect man, if that makes sense. And I just couldn't connect. I was like, I don't know a man that would say, like, that's a female thought. Does that make sense? Like, he said that, but that to me was something that, that I would say or think, right? But my husband would never have said or thought that. Does that make sense? And I know that everybody's different and I totally get it. I'm not trying to say that that's the case for everybody, right? But for me, I couldn't get over the hump of that. Like she has him pictured in this way. And that happened with a lot of characters. I was just disconnected. I just couldn't connect with them. I'm sorry. You know, it's going to make a lot of people. Nesta's like my favorite. And she's just kind of like a screw this, screw all of this, right? So, whereas Throne of Glass was to me more believable characters through and through. The story was interesting. Again, ex-military. So I just connected with the assassin main character for that and her training and the things she went through. And it was a really good series. Again, for somebody that did not like Akatar. So
it's
worth it. It's worth it.
About it.
It's worth it. Yes. But yeah, I've read, I just finished, I want to say finish. I mean, it was the first book I've DNF'd in a really long time. And I'm sorry for saying this because again, this is probably going to give me hate. Brimstone. Oh, did you read it?
Nope.
Okay. It's the
second book of
Quicksilver. I love Quicksilver. And I probably lasted in this book longer than I would have had the narration not been so wonderful. I was listening this particular, I go back and forth between audiobooks and physically reading books, depending on my position in life. I am a mother of 5. And so for the Quickstone, loved it through and through, totally fine. Brimstone, it just was so boring. And I tried so hard to get through it. And then at one point, again, spoilers, I'm not going to say what the spoiler is, but there was a big event and it belittled everything leading up to. I'm like, okay, well then what was the whole point of this trope? Like you just eliminated the trope essentially and just one chapter. And I'm like, then why did you have it at all? For 2 books, I've been dealing with this trope that I'm not super into right now. I was willing to read it for a good story, right? And I was that was the point. I was like, nope, sorry, I couldn't get over it. But that was the first book in a while I've DNF'd. But other than that, I've read some really good books recently. What about you? What are you currently reading?
I am currently reading Fury Bound.
I just started Direbound. Yeah.
It is very Fourth Wing-esque.
Oh, I'm so excited.
If you love Fourth Wing,
I love Fourth Wing. I love Fourth. I liked the first one, didn't like the second one, loved the third one. Could not stop thinking about. I was like living in that third book for months. But yeah.
Love the first one, hated the second one. And the third one, I don't know. There.
Up in the air. Second one, I couldn't get. She changed the character too much. Violet, right, is the main character. She was so whiny in the second book. I'm like, she was so strong-willed and like strong. Like, I just couldn't. Again, character disconnect. I had a really hard time with that, but I did finish it, and I was so glad I did because the third book to me was really great. I really loved the third book. So,
I've told everybody on the podcast, and I keep telling everybody else, like, if I wanted to, like, sit and read the second book, I would have just sat at Jerry Springer. I would have had more entertainment watching that. train
I
wreck.
know. That really was how it was. Yep. I totally get it. I did just finish this book. This was an indie author, and I'm going to shout out if that's okay, just because it was probably the best book I've read in a while. This book, Easton.
He is going to be on my podcast.
Is he? Oh my gosh. Tell him I said hi, because that book, look at this. Again, I'm a mother of 5. And for those of you that can see, that is a thick book. Let me tell you, the authors that don't have the visual here, there is 718 pages in this book. That's a thick boy. And it was so good. So good. If you're into smut and that's the only thing you read, it was very minimal. I mean, there was no smut. There was minimal romance, appropriate, I would think, for the story that was being told. But it's really good. And Easton is just so wonderful. I really like him. I did also read, and this is another thing I do cover art. This book, right, Chelsea?
Yes.
That's the cover. I did the cover, but Chelsea's book.
You did the cover?
I did. I was the cover artist for this.
What?
Yes, I also do cover art.
Like, raving
I'm so glad you liked it.
Just
so glad.
Because my favorite color is blue, and she was telling me I actually I almost put up that story, but I didn't because I needed to fix it. But she told me the story about how, like,
for context, for those that are listening and can't see, it's Shelf Life of Lies, by the way.
I think if I remember correctly, that
she's a body swapper. So she's kind of an anti-hero, which was so interesting. I haven't read one of those in a while, like a really long while. And I'm a Slytherin girly through and through. And so it was very interesting to me that she was kind of like a Slytherin, and she just makes really awful choices throughout the whole book. And I just was intrigued and enthralled with her decisions. Like, wow, like, it's fast paced, which is really great. She got through it really fast.
And her writing group didn't really like the cover.
Oh, the first one that we did, or this one?
I think it was that one. I think.
Well, sucks for them. It turned out to be a really great cover, in my opinion. So,
no, I was my jaw just hit the floor. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that it's simple, but yet it tells a whole story behind it.
It was really fun. We actually, it was our second attempt. She was the first first author that I've done a cover art for. So just learning the process of working with another author on their cover was new with her. And I did tell her, I was like, please don't, like, I want to make you happy. This is your baby. You've worked so hard on this book. I want you to be happy with your cover, right? If you're not happy, I don't want you to be miserable looking at this book that you worked so hard on to then not be happy with at the end, right? Like, I want your baby should be dressed nice. Just how I feel about that, right? And so we worked on the first cover, and it wasn't the best. And so the second cover, I stayed up all night the night before because I was like, she didn't like it. I was mortified, right? Because I just wanted her to be pleased. And the second attempt, I stayed up all night working on it so that in the morning I could show her. And in the morning, she was just pleased and super happy. She'd go, oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's exactly like, I don't know how you did it. Like, it's so great. I just I didn't sleep at all. I just wanted to please you and make your baby so happy, so great. And so since then, I've done a few other cover arts, one middle grade. The author did not like that book. He was using AI cover, which is fine. That's his prerogative. I don't want to get in his business. However, I did offer to him, like, hey, I need to get in the middle grade. You're saying that your sales aren't doing great. I personally believe it's because you have an AI cover. It's probably not going to sell as well. Would you like a free cover art from me, from a real artist, just so that you can have a real artist on your thing? I need this for my portfolio. Are you cool with it? Did it. I thought it was a really cool cover, and he chose to stay with what he had. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So that was the only one that I would say we walked away indifferent. But again, he didn't reach out to me. I did reach out to him. So I wasn't super heartbroken about it. And it's still in my portfolio, which he was cool with. And that's how that went. But I have done 2 adult covers since I think something like that. Oh, yes, I have. I did a rom com one as well. That was really fun. I'll show you the two other covers if you're interested. This one is Jillian Wessel. She's also on TikTok in our group. Do you know her? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, she's great. Well, it's not letting me show you. Hold on, let me see if I can get here you go. This is just the front cover instead of the side as well. Can you see that? Is it letting you see that?
Cool. Yeah.
So her book was really cool. She came to me with a really great design. And we went with what she had already, so it was pretty easy. And this one was a rom com. I've never done rom com before. I don't know if you know or read a lot of rom com, but I had to go and research it. They have a lot of like very flat colors, right? And I wanted her to, and they're all really a lot the same. And I wanted her to stand out with the same art style. So I made her something I thought was pretty unique for the art style.
That's really cool.
Isn't that cute?
I really like that. Yeah.
So she is going to Christina. She's an editor also on TikTok. And she is writing her first novel. And she reached out and I was like, sure, like you'll be the first rom-com. Like, let's try it together. And so that was what we created together. And I love it. It's been a fun process working with authors to make their covers.
That's awesome. Wow. But you have such a talent.
Thank you. Again, we talked about this, Big J. Anybody can do it. It just takes practice. I have been fiddling around with art since high school. I can show you, I used to do, I actually have a love for canvas. I like acrylics. So this is my daughter.
Oh my goodness, she's so cute.
Thanks. This is my second oldest, but my love is acrylic art. And with 5 kids, it's a very hard task to do. Just hard to pull out all your paint and then put it away and pick up the canvas that's wet and put it somewhere that the kids aren't going to get into. So I abandoned acrylic in this time of life that I'm living in for digital art. I had to teach myself digital art. I am very privileged that my husband gets old work iPad. So I use a work iPad, a used one, and a Apple Pencil and Procreate. And I just started. Procreate I love that it is a one-time fee. I think it's like $14 now, but you buy it once. It's no subscription, which is so nice in this day and age where you own nothing, right? And I am able to dabble on that. There's tons of YouTube videos out there to teach people how to do it. And it's the easiest program to learn. I do have an Apple Pencil because I was bougie and I bought myself one to be the professional, right? I was like, I'm a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids. If I buy myself one thing, that's the thing I'm going to buy. And so I bought it. I do love it, but I do know people out there that use $15 stylists off Amazon and they love it, right? So that's a totally viable option with the $14 Procreate. And if you can find yourself an iPad, a used one, which you can find those, right? I believe Procreate works on all versions of it. So you can get any kind of generation of iPad and do it and just fiddle around, right? Just practice. You're going to suck at first, just like authors suck at first. I don't know. You are not an author, correct, Big J?
No, but I am. I have an idea. That's I told. I don't know.
Dabbling away.
Yeah. Well, I actually Ash Grayson. I don't know if you follow her. She's she has a book coming out.
Oh, great.
In October. So she knows about it. I told it a few people, but it's and I was just joking on a live. Like we were just being like feral and joking about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I told a person, hey, what if there's a dark romance featuring the Santa Claus, the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, and he looks for his mate once a year, and it's a really dark romance. Someone says, I'll read that book. I'm like, huh. Okay. Then I bounced off the idea to Ash. And she said, what if he was a shifter?
Wait. No, Big J, don't give away your secrets here. You want to speak public?
Editing is great, so I could just take this out.
Gotcha.
So, what if he was that? It was a polar bear shifter. I'm like,
Mm.
all right. Then I got to thinking and thinking and thinking and just grew into something else. And I told her what I was thinking. And she was like, that is fantastic.
Right.
I'll tell you more once we're done.
That's great. No, I think if you are a new or aspiring author, I believe, again, I was not a good writer. I have improved significantly, one, by sucking. And if you can get over the fact that you're going to suck at first,
Yeah.
you are better off than anybody else that's so intimidated to be bad at first. I was bad. I struggled. I was a straight A student, but the A that I struggled to get every time was English. 100% of the time. I wasn't a strong reader. I think part of it was their teaching, to be completely honest. And I just didn't have, I just didn't suck enough. I didn't try to suck, right? And now I've practiced so many times. I've thrown out like 2 novels where I got, between the two of them, 120,000 words on page. My husband is the best. Find your people and allow them to critique you and take it professionally. Do not allow people that critique you to give you advice that's going to propel you forward for success and hate them for it. Or, I don't take anything personally about my writing. If it sucks, trust me, I want you to tell me before somebody else reads it and hates it. You're never going to please everybody, but the people that are
Right.
closest to you, not make sense, not look good. You can do better. So I tell the same people that alpha
Oh,
reader read is
you're freezing up.
you're going to want my advice. I'm sorry. What, Jay?
You're freezing up. Your screen just froze.
Cut off to. Okay. You there?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
So
Good.
repeat what
We
you
got
just
covered
said.
a second. Okay. So I think that the best advice I can offer to a new author is to not be scared of sucking. Everybody sucks at first. The amount of edits that authors go through to get to what you read as a reader, you wouldn't even imagine. And if it's not gone through a lot of edits, some people are really great and that's great for them. I'm not. I sucked in high school. I had, I was very anxious about it. I was a straight A student. Getting A's in English was my downfall. I just really struggled at it and I was too scared to suck. I was too scared to suck. So I didn't practice. I didn't try. Again, I do think some of it was the teaching of the teachers because now I have my husband who has sat down and taken the time to teach me. I've also picked up craft books, Save the Cat Beat Sheets. That's a book. It's a really great craft book. I encourage every author to get that book and then to find yourself a critique base. And what I tell everybody is if you are receiving critique, receive it professionally. Do not take it to heart. Your work that you're producing that somebody else is reading is not a reflection of you. So don't take it personally. And if it sucks, wouldn't you rather them tell you that it sucked or that it needs work than you go to the publishing table? And, there are people that some people just cannot take critique at all, right? And they are the hardest people to read for because you want to love them. And it almost feels like enabling when you can't give them the right critique because they can't receive critique. So don't be that person. Don't be that author that shoots yourself in the foot because you can't receive critique. Take it openly and you're not going to please everybody, but you can get a general consensus for people like, hey, the plot line's not making sense. This doesn't, I'm not following this. You were too detailed in this and you were not enough detail here, and take it and receive it professionally.
Amazing, amazing advice, which I will take with me because starting this I started this podcast prior prior to October, and there's one episode that's like slowly dying in Spotify. It's awful. I wouldn't show it to anybody. Still there, it's gonna just slowly die there. But I've taken that, and now I don't really write my questions. I usually go off the cuff, and that's how it works. And I see where the vibe is going.
Right.
So it's that advice that whoever's going to be an author, and whoever's watching this and wants to be an aspiring author should definitely take that advice and just go for it. And if it sticks, it sticks. If it's awful, well, learn from your mistakes and take the critique and make the next book better.
And find your people. I would like to point this out to people that are just listening, that are just intrigued by the author community. I don't know where I got this from. I don't know if it was from movies or books, whatever it is. And you tell me whether you also had the stigma, but I was told or had the stigma that authors were narcissistic people that just cared about themselves, that they were always like, get out of my way, whatever it was, right? Like that, like the hustle and bustle and weren't helpful. And that is far from the truth. I remember being so nervous going to my first writers conference last October that I was sweating. I was like calling my mom on the way there. My husband was at work and I was like, I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. Like, what if these people are like just, rude? And the way that I had, which was so wrong, they were so supportive to the point where my husband, when he finally did come home, I was like, you got to go. You got to come with me. You got to meet these people. I feel so inspired and so welcomed and so loved. And it has, from that moment, I have been propelled forward from the community alone, just engaging with those people. They're just a great group. I have not run into an author that was just the way that I had thought. And I feel really bad that I had that stigma. And I don't know if that's something, have you ever seen that or heard that?
I've thought like, I wasn't really a big reader when I was growing up. I just started reading maybe 2.5 years ago when I met my wife. Like, she got me into reading. Now I have way too many books. She tells me all the time, you have too many books. Like, I blame you. But
Me too. I just bought my like fourth or fifth bookshelf. It's insane. So,
but no, I've never heard that stigma before. And wow. All right.
I don't know where it came from, but I really was nervous. I just thought they were either recluse or they were mean. I don't know. But it's not. It's the furthest from the truth. I've been in a lot of communities. Military was also a really great community, but still, authors. I've never felt more welcome than within the author community.
Okay. But with that being said, there's one last question that I asked everybody. You probably already know this question, but I'm going to ask you either way. From seeing Chelsea's episode. But do you or do you not track your book spines?
Oh my gosh. No, I used to. My favorite books, the ones I've read so many times, the book spine is so worn you can't even tell the titles there. On my new trophy books, no, absolutely not. I'm in a different era than I was then.
And I've always tell this to everyone who I come on. Amber, she's Erin Reed's. You probably follow her, probably know her. She's the one who inspired this question, and I tell this to everybody because if you ever go onto her live, you ask her which is her favorite book, she will definitely pull out Haunting Adeline, and you can see like 7 cracks on the spine.
Mine is Ender's Game, which is such a random book. Did you ever read that? It's a sci-fi book.
I watched the movie.
Of course, never gives it justice. It's a really good book. That is my favorite book of all time. It's just my comfort book, and I have definitely read it so many times underneath blankets when I was supposed to be in bed as a kid, reading underneath the sheets, to now as an adult when I'm like, I just need a comfort read. It's not a very comfort book, but it gave me comfort. So,
I mean, I've read Haunting Adeline. It is a very difficult book to get through, but the story of it is incredible.
I haven't read it yet. Sorry. I do own it somewhere. Someone bought it from me, but I have not read it.
I mean,
it's going to be a movie now, right? Supposedly.
It is. And people are like, there's 50-50. People are excited for it. People are hating on it. I am one of those who are very excited about it. If you take away the stuff that's very controversial about the book, and actually read the story about Zaid
Hmm.
and what he does.
Main character,
It
main
is,
character.
yes, it is just what he does is incredible,
Unforgivable or incredible? Incredible.
incredible, incredible. So,
I do. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not one I can relate to. I apologize. I do not know that book.
no. But if you ever want to take a look and read it, I mean, yeah, it's going to be heavy. Both books are super heavy, but it is one of those reads where, like, either you'll love it or you'll hate it. So,
Yep. And that's again, you can't please everybody. I know there are some people that like books that I just like Akatar. It's not my favorite. Sorry.
yeah. But I want to thank you for coming on. This has been really fun.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun. I appreciate it.
And for the people who are watching, if you want to put out your handle, if your book is out, where they could find the book.
Right. Addie's Play Dragons is out on Amazon right now. That's the only place that you can buy it. Or you can go through my website, which is the Gaggle Illustrations. That's my entire handle across everything. You can just search it in Google and you will find me, the Gaggle Illustrations and more. And I am everywhere, thankfully.
Well, it's been super fun and thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.